Hey guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work at Connect the Dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider my work supporting it. All the links are at the bottom of the description, and I have a channel membership that starts at 3D. I haven't gotten the rest of the tiers yet, but I only have one amazing person. Thank you. If you're so delighted to join me, you get special access to stuff once I accumulate more people, and that's another way to support me. Also, Alley Cat Creations, this is why my light's a little on the low side. Signs for the house. Home. Alley Cat Creations 211.com. The link is there. Love. And of course, pyramids, skulls, business card holders, masculine, feminine. This is flowers and gems. All kinds of goodies. So you can check me out there. And if you like anything out of my portfolio, email me and we can chit chat on what you would like. So, yeah. The Voice of Isis, Chapter 4, The Wisdom Religion. Quote, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. She shall give to thine head an ornament apiece. A crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. Proverbs. The wisdom religion is the one original religion given to all mankind. The Greeks call it theophany, theophania, there we go, or the science of the manifestation or appearance of the gods to men, end quote. It is the heritage of the human race, and no one nation or people can claim it as theirs to the exclusion of others. We need this. All so-called religions were all and are racial and limited are but the various human interpretations of the one wisdom religion by various peoples, each adapting it according to their racial type of thought, to their particular point of view, and limiting and overlaying it with their human misconceptions. Thus, we have this paradigm shift and this going on right now. It is the one or first and supreme wisdom. Pythagoras termed it the gnosis or knowledge of things that are. This seems to be the best definition, for it makes the great distinction between the teachings of many modern so-called religions, which deal almost entirely with theories about things which even the propounders thereof do not pretend to know, but which they expect their followers to accept, because these theories have been accepted by their denomination for ages, and the one religion which was taught to man only by those who absolutely knew. I'm going to put a pause here. This is why I ask you all, for whatever I read, for whatever I say, to go within. I'm not telling you to take what I say as the end all be all of all things, because you know it here. Your perception of your reality that you create is here in your heart. what I strive to do, and I know it's not catching on, but some of you do get it, and you are practicing this for yourself, and I am thankful for that, is you get a whole compendium of so much information, but you are filtering it through your heart space to know what sounds right, feels right, and resonates with you, frequency-wise. Not all things you're going to gel with, not all things that people say, but you're discerning, you're going in and you're taking the parts that will help and guide you to move forward in your exploration of your reality. That is what is the most important out of all of this, is to do what aligns with you. And in order to do that, you have to get all sources of information to weigh and balance what works in your paradigm. But again, make it your paradigm and not somebody else's, not what somebody else projects to you. This book is mind-blowing, but I wanted to put that there because a lot of people blow wind out of their booty butts and they're not doing the work within to know if that resonates with them. Not everything Dolores Cannon says I agree with. Not everything Manly P. Hall says that I gel with. Not everything in the Law of One, even though the foundational work I do. But there's some things in there that I'm like, that's perception. There's a bias here. Not everything that Curtis says is I gel with either. But Captain Planet combines all these things and all these other people's sayings, and I mesh it together to take what each of these beautiful people have contributed to wisdom, and I mesh it together to make my own interpretation thereof. And I live through it, I walk it, I emote it, I exemplify it. That's being your authentic self. So just keep that in mind, please. Love you. Many centuries before the origin of the Christian religion, there existed in the ancient land of Atlantis and later in Asia a wisdom religion which spread over the then known world. Fragments of this religion carved upon temples, pillars, and tablets by the ancient Babylonians, Egyptians, Chinese, and Hindus, also by the Persians and Mesopotamians, are still decipherable. In the beginning, this one wisdom religion was taught by the divine instructors, the sons of God, mentioned in Genesis, and later by the sages of India, the Magians of Babylonia and Persia, the prophets of Israel, and the hierophants of Egypt and Arabia, the seers and philosophers of Greece, and by the Master Jesus and the initiated disciples of the early Christian church, all of whom acquired this wisdom and knowledge through their regular channels, through the mastery of the flesh and conscious communion and union with the divine. Nor has it ever ceased to be taught by advanced souls who gain their knowledge of this divine wisdom in the same way. Never, even during the darkest ages, has the world lacked the testimony of some great soul who obtained to this divine knowledge in one and only way, nor will the time ever come when this testimony is lacking. But, as usual, that which is and was from its beginning divine, pure and spiritual in its earliest unity became, by reason of its differentiation through the distorted prism of men's conceptions, human and impure, as reflecting man's own sinful nature. One application of the law, so the last shall be first and the first last, is that the one wisdom religion shall prevail upon the earth during the last races of humanity. as it did during the first. The great difference is that in the beginning, humanity was like a child, learning the great truth from the gods direct, much as a child learns to lisp its prayers as its mother at its mother's knees. Later, when humanity grew up and entered the world's arena, it had to put into practice the lessons inculcated in its childhood. And at the last, when humanity has reached the stage of manhood, we have the promise that the race shall become once more pure and innocent, not, however, with the purity and innocence of ignorance, but of wisdom. In other words, it will again practice the precepts of the wisdom religion given by the Father in the beginning, so that the condition at the last shall be as it was at the first, completing the old and becoming the first step of a new and grander dispensation as yet undreamt by man. Hi, we're here. We are here. We are delivered, kind of, not. Yes. We are in, as Bashar would say, we're not in kindergarten no more. We're at the master college PhD level. Some of us just getting our master's degrees, and some of us bachelor's degrees, but we are the graduating harvestable class of ascension, moving on up in frequency, and we're here. Yay. But not yay in terms of, yeah, we're here, but we're not yet. Because we're still in the paradigm of gaining the wisdom. It's getting out of polarity because it's that or this, good or evil, right? You can gain wisdom from either side. It's up to you, the people who are listening, to get out of that paradigm and gain wisdom. You have to gain wisdom through walking through the experience. If we did not have the effery that took place for millennia, all epochs have it, we wouldn't be here and awakened today, because we wouldn't have the experience and wisdom and understanding of why we had to walk through all those difficulties and all the efferys that has sprung up. It's difficult, but we're going back up the ladder. We dropped all the way down as far as we can go, and now we're climbing back up, and we're at the point of getting to the 0 point. It's not easy to convey, but we're there. We're at the beginning stages. And not to say that this work and this wisdom hasn't been obtained for centuries. It has, for sure. But now a large portion of humanity is starting to get it. They're waking up consciously. It's no longer in the in unconscious mind, starting to float out here in the ether, where people are grabbing, questioning their everyday lives. And that's what we want, at least to question it, not to change anybody, not to influence anybody. They have to do that work on their own and in their own way. There is no one way. There's not taking someone to a podcast or to, yeah, you can drop a hint, but they have to understand it for themselves in order for them to go, oh, okay, I got it. There was in every ancient country having claims to civilization an esoteric doctrine, a system which was designed and designated wisdom, and those who were devoted to its persecution, who were first denominated sages or wise men. The first religion has always been divided into two parts, that which, while essentially divine, pertain nevertheless to matters comprehensible even to the unenlightened and necessary for their progress in daily life, which was called the exoteric or outer doctrine, and that which was given only to initiated disciples called the esoteric or inner doctrine. The wisdom religion deals with things that are, and hence is not a religion of ritual and dogma, although it gives to them their soul. It takes but little thought to realize that all things that are must have deep underlying causes which produce the effects. Yes! These causes naturally can be known and understood only by the few. In every science, which, while must be given to the world at large, still the deep mysterious workings of science, be the science what it may, can be discovered only by one who has made it a life study, devoting all his time, thought, and enthusiasm to its inner and less apparent causes, unless there were some who could and did thus study. No true idea of that science could be given to the world. Every experiment must be proved in the laboratory, or it can be given to the world. The scientists must know. If the many confusing technicalities were laid before the general untrained public, they would tend not only to confuse, but also to discourage and perhaps work great harm. For instance, a poisonous drug, which in the hands of a trained physician may be wisely experimented with, and its great potencies and powers to save life discovered, as well as its dangers, if given to the general public, might be disastrous. Thus, it is with the wisdom religion, it can reveal its inner truths only to those who have devoted many lives to its study and who have thereby evolved to a point where it can be taught them direct from God. For it would be unwise and dangerous to give many of its mysteries to untrained disciples, be they ever so earnest and sincere. Hence, the esoteric or inner has always gone hand in hand with the exoteric doctrine. The esoteric, when mentioned outwardly at all, is set forth in parables and symbols so that only those who have hearts illumined by the light of the Christos can understand the deeper meanings. Yet such parables always contain an obvious moral precept, which is helpful to all who receive it. Thus, it is with the wisdom religion, it can reveal its inner truths only to those who have devoted many lives to its study and who have thereby evolved to a point where it can be taught them direct from God. It's many of us. For it would be unwise and dangerous to give many of its mysteries to untrained disciples. Truth. Be they ever so earnest and sincere. Hence, the esoteric or inner has always gone hand in hand with the exoteric doctrine. The esoteric, when mentioned outwardly at all, is set forth in parables and symbols. Why I'm repeating this? The esoteric, when mentioned outwardly, is set forth in parables and symbols, so that only those whose hearts illumined by the light of the Christos, not Christ, the Christos, can understand the deeper meanings. Well, I had to pause because I had to think about this. There's a lot like myself who has this channel who do spiritual soul advices and trying to steer you guys into doing the self work to discover the Christ within you, the Christos, the love frequency. Each and every one of us will teach it, will deliver it in verbiage differently. And some people will resonate with what I'm saying, other people will resonate with what others are saying. Though there is false light. there's a bunch of people like myself who are seeing it, people who claim that they're remote viewing or they're predicting futures or they're talking to councils, and there's a lot of doom and gloom, which any of the mediumship books behind me, if you get something that's doom and gloom and not of humanity's realistic expectations of what should happen, you're getting some negative entity in the fourth dimensional astral realm. You're getting something that is not a pure God source. I know for myself, my guides, my parents, all the fractals that are of me that are in my little pie chart, they give me messages, not necessarily warnings, but hey, you want to look out for this. It's not to deter me because certain things are meant to happen catalyst wise, major accidents, something where I'm in a I would never wish this on myself, but if I got hurt somewhere, that's a catalyst for me, and it can't be circumnavigated. It has to happen the way it's supposed to happen, that I signed up for in my contract, right? Those things are going to occur. But if someone's like, the tidal wave is hitting New York City and everything is going to be wiped away, we can move that timeline and shift that perception and that potentiality to no, it's not fucking happening. That's where a lot of people are being steered, and then it's a dangling carrot where oh, next week I'll let you know if it's going to happen or not. It's not that these people are horrible people. They're beautiful souls that feel that whatever they're receiving and getting handed to them is of the highest and greatest, and it's probably not if it sounds negative. Your spirits, your higher selves, are going to give you only the best and highest for you to navigate this reality in. And no, it's not coming down in sparkle farts and glitter. It's realistic shit. My dad, my parents, when the last medium reading I had, you got a money trap in that house. But once you tackle those things, the house will be fine, right? Just be aware that when the guys do the work on the roof, like make sure that they seal certain areas because you're going to have a roof leakage. These are not doom and gloom shits, right? My parents are giving me a little bit of a headway, headsight, foresight kind of thing. It's not, well, there's Lake Michigan is going to collapse and your house is going to be gone. No, because then it will happen because I'm thinking about it and then I'm manifesting the shit. No. So just be very discerning with what information you're taking in and who you're taking it for. Timelines, I saw that was right here. Timelines shift. And my heat's turning on, Scott. That's probably the knocks and the banging you're hearing is my very old school heating system. We gotta be mindful of, I listen to things objectively. So I take what people are saying and then I go in and filter it and take what, as a tarot card reader, say, take what resonates with you, leave the rest. Same thing with Rob. Ross says the same thing. This doesn't align with you, it's not yours to have. Same thing with wisdom religion. This wisdom. Take what applies to you and leave the rest. Just know what they were saying is that there's a lot of us who's lived multiple lifetimes doing this exact work. I know I probably have. different avenues and different explorations, but this is my mission. There's Freya. She loves my pyramids. As cute as she can be. This is why I keep repeating myself in that. There's a lot of us. I'm not alone. I'm not the only one giving amazing wisdom and amazing advice and helping people steer themselves in the understanding so that they can impart that wisdom on other people. I don't want to keep this all to myself, but like Yeshua, only a small percentage of people actually listened to what he was saying, read through the allegories, read through the parables, and read through the symbolism of what he was saying and actually uncovered the real true meaning of the work and what was said. There might be 10 commandments, but there was only 2 that Yeshua taught. So why is there 10 and not just 2? Why do we have to complicate things? Things should not be complicated. Love yourself as thy neighbor. That's like golden rule number 1. We tell the kids golden rule. We should all just be living by that, but why can't society get that way? Oh, we have, thank you. So I just wanted to put that out there because that's important. And just be very discerning who you're listening to. I listen to a ton of people, especially a lot of channelers. And some things I resonate with and a lot I don't. But does that make them wrong? No, that's just the paradigm or the entity they're getting their information from. That's why I don't channel. In terms of trans going in, because I don't know what's going to come through me. I mean, I have an idea, but no. Many, if the wisdom religion is so true and of such benefit to humanity, and is possessed in its fullness by the masters of wisdom, why is it hedged about by so many apparently insurmountable difficulties? And why have the masters permitted so much misunderstanding and error to be given to the world as truth? Oh, and many similar questions we read, yet there must have been some very good reason for it, since from the very dawn of history, such has been the policy of every hierophant and master from the very day when the first mystic taught by the first instructor of the divine dynasties of the early races was taught the means of communication between this world and the worlds of the invisible host, between the sphere of matter and that of pure spirit. He concluded that to abandon this mysterious science to the discretion, willing or unwilling, of the profane rabble was to lose it. An abuse of it might lead mankind to speedy destruction. It was like surrounding a group of children with explosive substances and furnishing them with the matches. The first divine instructor initiated but a select few, and these kept silent with the multitudes. That is, only those were initiated who, of their own free will and desire, had shown a determination to penetrate into the hidden mysteries and a capacity to use the knowledge gained for good of all under the direction of their instructors. When, however, seekers whose motives are pure and selfless are determined to penetrate into the inner mysteries and earnestly ask for guidance, the way to the desired knowledge always opens. For while it is dangerous to reveal the inner mysteries to those whose hearts are unprepared, it is equally dangerous to withhold them from those whose hearts are ready. And I would say that is absolutely 100% true. It's hard to ask somebody who is not spiritual, who hasn't seen a vast majority of religions and their weaknesses and their half truths. Sorry, guys. To go into their, there we go. To go into their programming and restructure their rewiring their thoughts. It takes time. Viking is one of these people that have very profound, like, shocked me, profound thinking capabilities, like ridiculous. Like, he made me drop my jaw a few times, like, oh, you really are one of mine. But still super, super effing stubborn. And he's not ready to open up and to do the healing. There's a lot of people who have experienced extreme trauma that are not ready for that kind of pain to resurface to be healed. There are some people who can't get past the fact that good and evil are God's paradigm regardless, and that the is of God. Oh, but no, they're all gonna die. Everybody's gonna die at some point. Sorry, that's just reality. And you can ascend in this body as crystalline. That's beautiful. But that also brings up the fear of death. Once again, we're all, not all, a generally large populace of people are still fearful of death and the detachment of the physical world to the material. They're stuck here and they're not understanding they're already having spiritual fun up there. And it's just a merger and transmutation of your energy to go back there. You're there already. Embrace it. But that's why people are stuck. They don't want to hear that they have to give up the hate for another person to blame for the world's doings of horrible anarchy and destruction. Yet at the same time, that's God's will. And you have to choose what part of source you're serving, yourself or the others. And I choose others. And that's all things, all people, even the evil people. And that's a very difficult truth that a lot of people, even awakened people, even people with all the information, have a hard time grasping, stomaching, and taking in. And then people like me who are telling you this, yeah, eventually more and more people are going to accept this factoid that God's all things. So therefore, there is good and evil in this polarity, but it's distorted, and you have to stop to think that's my other self. That's a mirror. Why do I have so much hate in my heart? Why do I hate my other selves? Why do I hate God? These are the difficulties that people are having. Love you all, but you got to look past it, and you have to stop feeding it. And that's going to take a long time because you don't want to feel left out. I'm going to tick to my own talk and do me any day of the week. I hope more people could start doing that and being with the flow, right? It's not easy. Not easy. There must be absolute fearlessness, for the pathway to the gods leads through the horrors of the lower astral world. We're here, whose debasing influences and obsessing entities will and must wreak their havoc and wreak their will upon the disciple who opens his door to that world unless he has grown strong and fearless through a special training which has brought about an influx of sufficient divine power and wisdom to enable him understandingly to cope with such forces instead of being used by them. The allegory of Daniel cast into the lion's den also The three prophets in the fiery furnace are illustrations of this point. We walked unharmed amidst his fearful surroundings because the Christ force, the angel of the Lord, protected him. I could say the same thing for myself. I lived on a Stargate. I saw demons. I saw aliens of a not good polarization. They all tried taking my light. And even Scott will timestamp a million stuff that goes on behind me. They don't affect me. They try. They try to wreak a little havoc. They try to be Loki. And Loki, they're not. You know, as much as I am having difficulties, realistically, you know, I don't want to speak that and make that so into my manifestation, but things are it's still very rough. They haven't picked back up. And I'm just doing my everyday moment and trying to frequent a high vibration every day as best as I can possibly do it and hold it for long periods of time. And that's all we are being asked to do. We're still in it. We still have some training wheels on, even though we're in the doctorate program. We're in year 1, going through our doctoral thesis, writing it. We're in that process. Ouch. It's a long journey. And I can only tell you that because my cousin is a doctor of microbiology. And yeah, wow. No matter how eagerly disciples desire these secrets, it was, and still is, the duty of every teacher of the mysteries to withhold all esoteric instruction from them until, by the character of their lives, they have proved that they are ready to be entrusted with it. It is not enough for them to intend to do their best, but is absolutely necessary that they acquire wisdom to cope. Like Daniel, with all conditions and forces of life, such wisdom can only be acquired after many lives of experience and several severe testings. Hence, no mortal can tell when he or any other is ready for initiation into the mysteries. Only those divine instructors who have watched him life after life and have noted how he has borne himself in the various vicissitudes of mortal experience can judge as to his obtaining mastery in a particular incarnation. Hence the occult axiom, which is literally true and has never failed: when the pupil is ready, the teacher appears. The teacher here referred to is usually not a superhuman being, but it is that person, teaching, or thing which will give the seeker the knowledge needed for the next step. And only when no human being or accessible teaching can fulfill that need does a more than human teacher appear. The pupil is not the judge of his readiness for this step, for he is not ready until he has gained the ability to recognize his teacher on the inner plane. Until that time, it is his duty to take the steps one by one as life presents them, until the next step brings him into the presence of his teacher. To come close to the master, strive to do the works of the masters, for the more you strive to do those works, the closer you come. An apprentice works apart from the master workman while learning the preliminaries, but when he begins to do master work, he works under the direct supervision of the master workmen and becomes his helper. Solomon, referring to the esoteric doctrine, says, "With all thy getting, get understanding." And David emphasizes the point when he says, "The fear of the Lord," or the law, "is the beginning of wisdom." For until we gain a wholesome fear, or to speak more correctly, awe of the great law, which the wisdom religion teaches, the disciple is not ready even to set out consciously on the path of obtainment. The first conscious step upon the path is a comprehension of the sacredness and the desirability of the spiritual wisdom which is spoken of in the Bible as the peril of great price, for the attainment of which the disciple gladly sells all that he, the personal self, has. When he has thus gladly sacrificed his all for it, he will realize that it is not something to be talked about idly or displayed before men, but something to be sought for in the inner sanctuary of the heart. The disciple must be willing to prove worthy, he can hope to receive. Solomon says, when wisdom entereth into thine heart, knowledge is pleasant unto the soul. Discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee. Every candidate for initiation must feel within himself the great self, the mighty Lord and protector, the I am or ego, sum, shows his full power to each one who can recognize the still small voice. And this recognition can only come through the cultivation of the spirit of love. We obtain to a knowledge of the mighty Lord, our Father in heaven, when we do the works of our Father. First and foremost of these works are the manifesting in our lives a divine love and compassion. He who says he has realized the divine within himself, yet only as power for his own upliftment, and who uses it only for his own advancement, has never even approached the realization. Such receive the condemnation of those who prophesied and did many wondrous works in his name. I know you not whence ye are. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity. The first action of the divine in the heart is to awaken love and compassion for the race. Ta-da! God is love, and the disciple cannot draw near to or have a realization of God without an awakening of the divine love and compassion, which is not limited to individuals, but which is poured out from all the world. For God so loves the world that he continually gives his only begotten Son, the emanation from himself, love, that whosoever believeth on this Son shall have eternal life. Fourth dimension is love and unconditional love and compassion. Sorry, there's my brain. It snowed today. Unconditional love for all God's creatures. All God. That means the things you hate. That's hard for a lot of people, so still a lot of hard. It's hard. It's hard. But you can do it. I have faith in many of you. He who feels another sorrow, who forgets self for others, has realized, in a measure at least, the divine. And while the works of the Father are what the world would call magic, still the greatest miracle of all is the miracle of loving. How few there be who really and truly love their fellow man. How few there be who forget themselves, their own pleasures, their own so-called rights, their own happiness for another. For the meanest of God's little ones, for perhaps even a dumb brute, he who feels another sorrow has touched somewhere upon the divine within. Therefore, when you would attain to this realization, empty out the personal and let the divine Father overshadow you and shelter and feed you with the mystic bread of which, when ye eat thereof, ye shall hunger no more, neither thirst. The wisdom religion teaches the means of accomplishing this union of human with the divine, for there is no possibility of obtaining mastery or entering the kingdom of heaven unless the human is insolubly linked to the God within. It is the firm belief in the possibilities of such union that helps one to obtain it. This is the only possible path of obtainment. The more this truth grows upon the candidate, the greater the power of the immortal God to manifest through him. And as the manifestation of God within grows and waxes strong, the man of sin, or the mere animal man, dies or is literally consumed in the divine adore. As St. Paul says, the first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. And as we have borne the image of earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. The wisdom religion not only teaches this, but the esoteric doctrine signifies much more, for it teaches the possibility of the recognition by initiated mortals, not only of the actual presence on earth of a god or gods, but the actual blending of the higher self, the personal God with man, his representative on earth. But to accomplish this, the candidate must feed his spiritual body on the divine realization, just as the physical body is fed with mortal food. For the bread of God is that which cometh down from heaven and giveth life unto the world. Next time, chapter 5, concerning the doctrine of hellfire. So this whole chapter just confirms everything I've been saying. Everything. 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 Had to put some humor in there. We need a laugh. Raise your vibes. I've been saying this for a long time. The difference between, because I get a lot of people that I love very much that message me and like, how, I don't know how you're so young and have all this wisdom. It's because a lot of us have, I've had a difficult life. I still am going through it. And it's not to debunk, well, don't think about it and you're not manifesting it. It's because of what I wrote. And it's all the lifetimes I've served. It's what my mission is. I'm here to help. Doesn't matter what my age is. All of us technically have the same age, soul-wise. Just different delineations of how many times you became physical. I lived a lot of physical lives. Just like Yeshua, his teachings weren't popular back in his time. His teachings were ignored by so many people because they didn't want to confront themselves in the mirror. They thought their preachers, their pastors, their rabbis, their whatever, all the other religions, their teachers were doing and steering them in the right direction. And not to say that religion is bad, it's not. It has good grounds. But are you going inside yourself and walking the talk? It took me a long time to go within and to heal, and I'm not done. No one is. I just have a better recognition of rewiring my brain and catching myself in moments where I'm faltering, switching the mindset. Yeah, shit's difficult for me right now. It's going to be. You know, if everybody were to help me out financially, listen, as soon as I sold my house and I had liquid assets, I gave it to people who needed. I reciprocate. I put it out there. I didn't hoard my wealth to myself. I aided those who needed my help at the time. And I'm happy I did. I don't take that back. I walk in my talk. Are you walking your talk? A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people preach love and light, and yet in the next moment I see, well, those people need the wood chipper or they need to be hung. Who are you to judge? You're not source in totality. And that doesn't work that way. Judge yourself. Those people are going to go to where they need to go to do the healing they need. If we want to label that as hell, so be it. But it's a perception. It's an interpretation of what we've been programmed to think. Holding yourself accountable is harder than someone judging you. When you could sit in this world and walk your talk and exude it, integrate it, and be one with it, understanding what source God, the infinite intelligence of all things are. I say this all the time. It's a work in progress, and a lot of people can't bite that truth just yet. It's the forbidden apple that it's like, well, if I bite this apple and I have to change my entire process of thinking because I can't hate the Illuminati, can't hate the Bilderberg group and all the other groups that people expose. I can't hate them. Oh, what is hate going to do for you in the first place? Oh, well, Allison, they did horrible things to and harmed humanity. Or did they awaken us to the truth of how we allowed the system to get this far fucked? And that those who have tried to stop the system have been met with their early demise. But is that a real thing? Not enough of us is stepping up to the plate to do the actual work and take in the understanding. They just validated everything I put out there, more in a religious sense, but still. Tobacco, by the way. Please realize it'll get easier. The process is a little wonky, but it does get easier. And the only way it does get easier is going in here. And stop allowing other people to dictate your reality because it's a program. Unbeknownst to them, there are really good intentioned people out there programming you. Well, now the flash of light is not happening. I get this a lot. There's a lot of people that have the best intentions. They're communicating with their higher selves, and they're like, oh well, we shifted paradigms. Well, why are you putting it out there? Always maybe make a caveat. It's a potentiality and a possibility. More and more people that are like myself, but are giving you predictions are now speaking out. Thankfully, they're catching themselves saying, well, that was in the moment of that now moment. That was what my higher self picked up. But that higher self is giving you doom and gloom or hopium. Well, this is going to happen. This is always going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But it doesn't fucking happen. It's been happening. That's the problem. It's just not how we are perceiving it. The flash of light is always continuously happening. I'm just using that. I always use that as an example because people are like obsessed on that one topic in the spiritual world. Obsessed. The financial shit too. People are obsessed. I'm sorry. until it actually manifests and I don't have to work 5 jobs anymore, which I'm constantly working. I was just texting Dina. When am I not working? I'm always working. It's 24/7, but I am doing stuff that I love to do. Unfortunately, it does not collect abundance in the ways that pay the bills in the 3D shit. It fills me here. That's why I'm on doing videos. That's why I have a channel, because I love doing this. This is my passion. I love making artwork. That's my passion. I love doing it. Makes me happy, makes me fulfilled. Even if it doesn't sell, I make it to make it anyway. I make it to hopefully someone finds joy in what I do and sees the beauty in what I do. And they'll get something out of it. That's my enjoyment. That's why I do it. Reading a book, sharing all the wealth of knowledge that I have. That's why I do it. I love reading anyway. It calms me down. I love writing. I haven't done much of it at all in the past 3 years, but I have to get back on that saddle. But I work with kids. It doesn't pay me anything, but I love doing it. It gives me a sense of purpose. It gives me my duties. I like being of service to others. It's always been in my nature. Find what's in yours. Everybody's going to be different. But please, this is huge. This information is huge, and many of you are like me. We're here connected, very highly connected to getting sources information straight from the source itself. And we have a job to deliver it as best as we can to help steer humanity into a better paradigm. So, guys, sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within. So that's where all the answers lie. Be the physical shoulder for others. We're very much needed right now. Be the lighthouse, so you're shining your light in the deepest, darkest of spaces, hopefully penetrating more and more every time that light goes around. Seed your truths respectfully and in a mature manner, because I told you so isn't going to win you anybody over. Sorry, but it's not. Walk your authentic self. Thank you guys for your support, your generosity, you helping me out. Can't say thank you enough to certain people, you know who you are, that are always doing and trying to help me out. Hopefully I can repay that, if not to you personally, to other people that I have in the past. Like I said, when I have it, I give it. And if I can't do it, I'll find other people that can. I'm one of those service to others, and I have a huge heart. And I know many of you do too, and I'm very thankful for those of you who have. I know not everybody has the means, but you have the energy to make a click to a like button. You have the ability to use your energy to share and to get messages out that are very much needed in humanity right now. And this is just a confirmation of that. So until the next one, guys, I shall be going hopefully live tomorrow. We'll see. I have a very rigorous training tomorrow at my educational shop, and we'll see what happens after that. But I should be doing a live. I just don't know what time yet tomorrow. So stay tuned. Telegram and Facebook is where I put my lives information. I have a little picture of me, and then I'll be here. Please click the bell. If not, so you know that I will be live, because I do it only once a week. Yeah. Have a blessed and beautiful day, guys. Bye for now.